Is there anything going on in City 20, or is it a relatively empty, desolate wasteland full of glitches? Watch on and find out. My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play. We spend lots of time with survival crafting games on Strategy for Busy People. This time we're looking at City 20 by Untold Games. I put about 5 hours into this title. I don't really need much from a survival crafting game. You should have to do some work to survive, and there should be some compelling goals. Things shouldn't be all that hard, but they shouldn't be a walk in the park either. There should be a number of systems in the game and interesting things to do. Well, unfortunately for City 20, it might be a little premature to visit because there are a lot of things that feel pretty unfinished. There was a major update after I wrote this review, so some of the complaints have been addressed, but I'll call out where they are. I don't need much of a story in a survival crafting game, and City 20 delivers in that department. There's some mysterious stuff going on, and you don't really know why you're here, and it's clear that something weird happened. But in my random interviews with other characters in the game, I didn't find out all that much. There appear to be two main factions living in the city, and it seems like maybe they don't really care for one another. There weren't any outright hostilities going on in my time in the game, but who's to say that that won't change in the future? The guy whose property you woke up on, Goga, is kind enough to let you hang out for a couple of days before he throws you out. Relatively quickly, you're supposed to figure out how to survive on your own. But building shelter isn't really a thing that you do in this game because you can actually quote-unquote purchase a domicile. The reason that I put this in air quotes is because at the time of my playing, all the domiciles I could purchase to live in had a cost of 0. And apparently, at some point in the future, people will try to break in and steal your stuff, but that's not there yet. Speaking of people, whether bad or good, one of the differences that City 20 claims is that the NPCs in this game all have their own needs, wants, and desires, akin to titles like RimWorld, Norland, Dwarf Fortress, and others. In practice, it doesn't result in a particularly fulfilling experience at this time. The various NPCs I interacted with either had random items they wanted, a few items they were willing to sell, and occasionally they would give you a grocery run mission to either fetch or deliver an item or a conversation. It's not all that fun. And, to make it worse, when you have to go give Melka her vodka, you can't find her on the map. That's not a bigoted comment, mind you, it's literally a mission in the game. The Halloween update that Untold rolled out supposedly added an NPC locator and made the map easier to open, so the pain in finding people is greatly reduced. A compass would still be nice, especially since they make a point of giving you a GPS-like device to tell you where you are on the map. Crafting is a bit of an annoying experience in this game, too. One example was related to animals. I managed to build a small trap, more on that later, and set it out. It caught a rabbit, and I took the rabbit from the trap, but I couldn't skin it. Apparently, you have to drop the rabbit to skin it, and then make sure that you have a knife equipped. Why can't you do something with a rabbit in your inventory is beyond me. With respect to the trap itself, figuring out how to construct it was a challenge. It turns out that the trap needed to be constructed at a workbench. Building a workbench requires planks, but planks can only be made at a workbench. So you have to figure out that you either need to find a workbench in the wild that you can use without trespassing, or figure out that you can disassemble and salvage various wooden items that you encounter as you roam about to get planks to use at the workbench to build the trap. Oh, and when I picked up the trap to move it, it disappeared from my inventory and from the map. This was a bug. Sigh. I also found a bug where the bartender had no food to sell you, only empty bottles. Some of the things you might expect are here, like a stove that burns wood to be able to cook with. But your recipes are pretty limited right now, and it wasn't clear where you'd uncover more. You definitely get some recipes from things from people, but I rarely got missions from anyone, and usually the reward was just a couple of bucks. Eating and drinking in the game is simple enough, and you can literally subsist on chicory leaves, which seems a bit unrealistic, so there ends up being very little incentive to catch and make real food. Maybe that will change in the future. There's also combat with the NPCs in the game, but I managed not to anger anyone enough to need to deal with that. Well, that's not technically true. I got chased by the bartender because I accidentally looked in his fridge, which counted as stealing even though I didn't take anything. He chased me around along with a few other people, and I decided to load a scum save. Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict. This game is pretty and has okay graphics, mostly in the lighting department. There wasn't anything super exceptionally bad about the game, but nothing really drew me in either. It might be worth revisiting as they get closer to their version 1.0 release, but for now, I've bounced out. On my trademarked 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat, I sure had my share of chicory leaves, and I did eat some carrots, potatoes, and tomatoes. But I couldn't figure out how to build a garden plot in any of the dirt, and some real vegetables were calling me, so I left City 20. Meh. But I grabbed some vodka on the way out. Well, technically I'm a bourbon guy, but whatever.